Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are live. It is Thursday evening. Come on in. So glad that you can join us and have this conversation. So put everything down, and this is going to be worth your attention. I'm telling you, so important, so vital. And I am excited because these are things that we have to educate ourselves on. And I'm joined tonight by my friend and who has serviced me for a long time, Deshawn Bullock of Nouritress. Deshawn, I'm so glad to have you here
Oh,
tonight to have this conversation.
thank you so much for having me. I'm excited as well. Always love to share. Okay. Thank you for
Yes,
having me.
it's important. And maybe we can start. You can just tell our viewers about you, how long you've been in the industry, what made you get into the industry, and we're just thrilled that you decided to come alongside and be one of our conference sponsors. And so, yeah, it's going to be a great uh, opportunity to just partner together and spread some good information.
Yes. Well, again, thank you for having me. I'm Deshawn Bullock for those who don't know me. Pastor Taffy, I got into this industry. I always say that I backdoored the industry, right? So I graduated from Tuskegee University in 1989. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I have a degree in computer science. So what brought me to Atlanta was I worked in IT as a software designer. But I was the girl on college campus because we have them all that was doing everybody's hair. I was the campus kitchen titian. That was who I was. And I just have always had a passion. Not always. In high school, I was a tomboy. I played basketball, so I didn't care about hair at all. But I think God was grooming me, maybe because I got teased about my hair more than anything growing up. But that's a whole nother story. We'll get into that at the conference. But when I graduated from college and started working in corporate America, this burning fire just still kept burning for me to want to get into the hair industry. But I was really kind of embarrassed. The hair industry wasn't looked at as a industry that was favorable. Every image of a hairstylist was like Shanae on Martin, Queen Latifah on Beauty Shop. Everything was a shop. Everything was ghetto. Nothing showed professional. Nothing showed corporate or anything like that. But that's who I was. I was professional. I was corporate. I was educated. And at the church I was attending at the time, a lot of the women were having issues, and I started servicing them at the time in my apartment because I was in my early 20s. By the time I got married at 25, my husband was like, "Hey, so you're talking about getting your master's, but I leave that to me." Right? Because he went on to do his master's, PhD, and all that. He was like, "But you need to do hair because this is where your gift lies." And he never lied. He holds it over my head today, but he never lied. And so instead of getting my master's, I decided to go to school, but this time I went to Atlanta Technical Institute and went there and got my cosmetology license. But Pastor Taffy, I was still embarrassed. People would say, "So what do you do?" I would say, "Well, I'm a computer programmer and I own a salon." I would never lead with that I owned a salon or I was a hairstylist because of the stigma that was attached to someone that was uneducated, couldn't communicate, and who was just at a shop. It wasn't until I started really getting into the business side of the industry where I began to see the profits show up and I was making more money at my job and I decided to leave that people would say, "So what do you do for a living?" I wouldn't say I do hair. I would just say I'm in the business of beauty
Mm,
because I started calling those things, I had learned that, through,
mm-hmm.
going to church and understanding through the word that, you are what you say. And so I don't just do hair because to do hair, I realized all you needed was a chair and some clients and some tools. But to be in the beauty of business, you needed a little bit more.
Wow, that's really good. Tell us about Nouritress and where the name come from and what distinguishes it as a product and as a service?
So when I opened my salon, my first salon in 1996, we this was back in the day, Pastor Taffy. People were, women and those listening, they came and got their hair done every week. That was the time women came to the salon, they got their hair done every week. We didn't have problems with a whole lot of hair loss. The only hair thinning we had was that maybe we were over processing, or maybe we had hormonal, we were aging. It was nothing like what we see now. And so as I began to see women that I was servicing experience hair thinning and hair loss, I wanted to find out, like, well, how can I really help these women? Because I felt helpless. And so from there, I went on to meet with some dermatologists, specifically one that was in the Atlanta area that focused on hair loss in African American men and women. And he just said, it starts on the inside. You have to start with the nutritional supplement. So that's what we did. So at the time, I had a partner in the salon, and she said, well, you're trying to nourish the tresses, so let's call it Nouritress. And that's how it came. Nourish your tresses. We wanted to nourish the tresses from the inside. And that's how it was born. It was about making sure that the strand that we were developing internally, and we were young then too, Pastor, we were young, much younger than I am now, that we wanted to make sure that the name of the product spoke to what we were actually doing, because it was that important.
That's really good. So biotin and some of those things really do help. Do you feel like the supplements really add to the health of your hair?
Most definitely. And so I think that, one of the things that we lack in our community, Pastor Taffy, which is why ministry such as World Changes has been iconic, has been an iconic place in our world today, is because in all thy getting, we got to get understanding, right? And so we have to teach our community. We want to listen to gimmicks. We want somebody to tell us we want a quick fix. We want to make money fast. We want our hair to grow fast. We want to do everything fast. You can't do anything that fast. It took you 8 years to get from kindergarten to 8th grade. It took you 4 years to go from freshman to senior year. It took you another 4 years to go through a freshman in college, to senior. And for some of us, like me, 5 years, to get out. And those who want to get their masters to go on, it takes time to make sure that we get an understanding. And one of the things we have to do in our community is sit down and listen to those who have gone through the training to learn. Biotin is good, but biotin thickens your hair. If you're losing your hair, biotin can't do nothing for you, right?
Really?
So no, that's not the design of biotin. It's to provide the strand what it needs to thicken, to fatten, and to help the hair grow. But if you're having or experiencing any type of hair thinning or hair loss, we have to first look at, why is it happening? What if I'm losing my hair because I got a thyroid issue? Biotin can't help that. You need to go to your internist and get your thyroid straight. What if I'm losing my hair because of diabetes or because of high blood pressure? Or, we have to understand why the hair loss is happening first in order to then find out the direct path to address the issue. So biotin is good, but there's other things that we need as well. So at Nouritress, what we do is we take the approach of understanding that majority of our clientele, which are multicultural women, why do most of the women in the African American community have problems with their hair? Because we like to braid, twist, lock, whip, snip. We like to, because we have the ability to do that. And so it's okay. So while we're doing that, what do we need? We need our strands to be stronger, because if I'm going to, braid my hair a lot, then that means I need to make sure I have my strand that's strong enough to be able to hold it. If I'm going to sew some hair in and add weight to it, I need to just have a stronger strand. So there's things I need to do, because if nutritionally I'm not eating beets, carrots, and all the other good stuff that we need, kale and spinach, but I'm eating other brands, Popeyes, whatever we eat, Taco Bell, what we eat in our community. If we're going to do that, then we're not getting the nutrition that we need if we're eating off the dollar menu. So we need to supplement with the proper nutrition that our body needs to produce a healthy, strong hair so that we can thrive in the hair, in our hair life.
Wow. What does that supplementation look like just on a daily basis? Is that something that is a special service or special treatment, or is that something that a product every day maybe you can spray on, or once you do it yourself, because a lot of us do our shampooing at home in between or whatever the case may be. So maybe you can elaborate some on how to get um, nourishment from the inside, and I guess you have to do it on the outside too, both ways. What
Yes.
that looks like product wise.
Yes, so product wise at Nouritress, we have two different types of vitamins. We do have a biotin, a simple biotin gummy that is just a what we call a hair maintenance vitamin. If your hair is healthy, there's many of us that we do what we supposed to do. We take care of our hair. Our hair is really our crown and glory. We don't play about our hair, right? So we don't really have any issues. We may be younger. Our estrogen is flowing real good, so we don't have any issues with hormonal hair loss. So then we have a biotin gummy that we take daily. It just is a healthy hair maintenance vitamin. But as we age or if we have issues with our hair, we start with our Nouritress Hair Vitamins Plus that not only has biotin in it, and not just any biotin, 5,000 mcgs of biotin. We then have some things like saw palmetto, which is what we call a DHT blocker. It just simply means that as we age, our hormones are changing. Women at a certain age don't have as much estrogen, so we need some folic acid. We need some other things to kind of help us to prevent us from thinning with the absence of the estrogen or the lowering of estrogen. So we have some other things in the vitamin. You need that. That's more of a multivitamin. It has vitamin C, some vitamin B6, some vitamin B12, some cayenne pepper, some horsetail extract, which is an anti-inflammatory for the scalp for those women who like to wear a lot of wigs and a lot of weaves that may have traction alopecia. So that particular vitamin is like the gold. That's why we call it Nouritress Hair Vitamins Plus. It's like the plus. It gives you everything you need from a nutritional supplement for your body plus your hair. That's what that looks like. So we call that, Pastor Taffy, internal strand development. So if we can build our strand up internally so that when it grows out of the scalp, it's thick, then we move into what we call external hair nutrition. So now we got to take care of the hair that's on our head. Once it grows out, we need to keep the scalp cleansed. We need to shampoo it. We need to condition the hair, condition the scalp, keep the strand strong, use a leave-in, use some moisturizers, just simple daily routines. But if I may say this, we live in a time now, as I said, I opened my first salon in 1996. And since 1996, nonstop, I have owned a business in the business of beauty. We went from women coming to the salon getting their hair every week to every 2 weeks to now women are only shampooing their hair every 3 months because they're paying 300, 400, $1,000 for their weave and wigs. And so now we're not even shampooing our hair at all. And it's very important that we understand as a community that if you don't take care of your scalp, which is the environment where your hair lives, you're going to have an issue. Point blank, no way to get around it. You might as well equate it to not brushing your teeth every 3 months, right? You have
Wow.
to, we have to cleanse our hair and we have to cleanse our scalp. And we have a lot of attachments that we're wearing, wigs, weaves, and I'm sure we'll get into that, later. But it's very important nowadays because of the type of things that we do to our hair, that we keep our scalp cleansed and that we don't go past 60, well, really past 30 days, but really past 2 weeks. But I'm going to give you grace with the braids past 30 days without shampooing our hair because it's what we see. It's what's happening. And those who are watching, if you're guilty, just say, amen, it's okay. We're here to do better, to be better. But we got to cleanse our scalp because bacteria and fungus is building up on the scalp. And hence, that is the reason why a lot of women are experiencing issues and concerns with their hair.
That is so good. Beverly says she's 65, has noticed some hair loss, Deshawn, on the front left and the right sides. So, is it in instances the older we get that it is more likely or very possible to experience some level of hair loss unless we're doing specifically the things that you mentioned, regularly shampooing and putting the right products on our hair to maintain what we have.
It is correct. Just like both you and I have these eyes on. I didn't have these eyes on probably about 5 years ago. I was good without these eyes. Well, I'm gonna say, I'm COVID 5 years, so maybe 8 years ago, I didn't need these eyes. But as we get older, everything in our body changes. And one of the biggest things that happen to us as we get older is hormonal hair loss. Our hair is going to naturally thin because estrogen plays a major part in our hair growth cycle. So we need to do some things in order to keep our hair from aging, to keep our scalp. Our skin is here, our scalp is here. But isn't it funny? We spend more time with buying cleansers and anti-aging regimens for here, but we don't for right here,
It's
right?
true.
Because it's all aging. The neck is aging. We see advertisements about neck cream. I'm one too. I'm looking at my neck as we're talking, right? Look, it's more wrinkled than what it is because I'm aging. My hands, don't look the same. The skin is changing. So if it's changing everywhere else, just know it's changing here. And as we age, we just need to understand that we need to move into anti-aging hair products as well to help us keep our hair healthy. So as we get older and we are losing the estrogen, that we at least, as soon as we see the thinning happen due to our age, just like we go to the doctor for our eyes when we wake up and look at TV and say, yesterday was clear, but today it's a little blurry. I need a little help. As soon as that happens with our hair and say, last week my hair was thicker, but now it seems like it's getting a little thinner. Then we start finding out who we need to talk to, finding out those who are hair loss specialists, those who are trichologists, going to our dermatologists who specialize in hair thinning to help us stay on track so that it won't, continue to move to a point of, like a bald spot. Because I think what we think, Pastor Taffy, is that if I think we just feel helpless, like we don't know what to do. So it's
Right. We
nobody's
don't.
fault.
Yeah. And I was thinking as you were talking about um, the familiarity that we have with skin products, anti-aging, and just different things that are available on the market. And sometimes you don't quite know what ingredients to look for when you're looking at a shampoo, and it's so many different types of series, collections, brands, whatever the case may be. And it's like, okay, is it just to make my hair shine more with sheen, or is it for cleansing my scalp? Or so these are things that really maybe you could kind of shed some light on and just say when you're looking for different products, or what type of brand or what type of product would you suggest as it relates to keeping, like you mentioned, a healthy head of hair on your head.
Yes, right now we have the natural hair movement. A lot of people we went from wearing chemicals in our hair, to relaxers and to wearing our own natural curls. And so we moved to shampoos that were designed specifically for the curly texture hair to add some softening to the hair because that wasn't something we grew up, managing. And so then there was this whole slew of, products out there for softening the hair. There were products out there to define the curl. There were creams out there to add moisture to the hair. And so just like there are so many different medications,
Hmm.
for thyroid or diabetes or all the different ailments that we have. You have, if you got a headache, you got to take X. If your hand is swelling, you take, Y. If your stomach is hurt, if you got gas, all these different things that are on the market, it's out there. So I think in the African American community specifically, we just like, we're product junkies. So we just like to try different things. But I always tell people, let's, bring it in as we do with the word. Let's get focused and we can splurge. It's fine to try different products to see what works because as I was talking to someone this morning, you never know your hair until you've really been dealing with your hair, right? So if you were relaxed majority of your life and then you decided to go natural, you don't know what curly pudding to use that's going to give you the look that you want,
Right.
because they're all not designed the same. Some is for some is heavier than others, some are lighter. So we do have to go through this testing, this mode. But as it relates to experiencing issues with hair thinning and hair loss, that is something that you do need to go get seek professional help with first. So you start there and then you continue the treatment at home, because it is something you have to treat daily. You may have like a follicle treatment like what we have that you have to do nightly if you have a certain area that needs, therapy. If you need to shampoo your hair, you may want to use our particular shampoo weekly. We never tell anybody to throw away your favorite shampoo. Just know that if you have a certain issue, you have to use this. I personally have had thyroid issues since my 30s. I've had to take, if I don't want to feel like I'm walking on the moon, I have to take thyroid medicine, and that's what I do. So I'm not taking a medicine for headache to balance my thyroid. I have to take what I need for my thyroid so that I can, live my best life. You
Right. That's so good. And Deshawn, I remember when I was at your salon, um, you recommended a scalp, like a steamer type thing. How important is that in terms of, is that beneficial for hair growth, or is that just more for making you relax and enjoy yourself at the salon?
Well, Pastor Taffy, let me just say this. You're asking all the right questions. So I think this show has to go on the road, but sounds like a talk show to me. But you're correct. In the day, so you remember, because you're a salon, you're a salon girl. So
Hmm.
when you go to the salon, you get your hair shampooed. After they shampoo your hair, they put the conditioner on. And in the past, they would take the conditioner, put a plastic cap on your head, and sit you under the dryer. You
Hmm.
remember that?
Deep
That
conditioning. Yes,
deep
ma'am.
conditioning.
Yeah.
That was
With the hot oil, all of that.
Yes, that was our definition of trying to create steam under the cap. What we wanted to do was we wanted to preserve the moisture beneath the cap, put you under the dryer with some heat to create steam. But just like we have technology with our phones and our computers, and now we can talk live, we have hair technology. So now steam is the best thing, because you don't need a cap, and it became more important for our during the natural hair movement, because our curl pattern was so tight that the conditioners couldn't get through that tight curl. So we needed steam to open up the strand to allow the conditioners to impart into the strand fully, so that we can have moisturized hair. So now
Okay.
steam is used to assist us with moisture and keeping our hair healthy, so that we can continue to do what we do, especially if we like to color. We like to color,
Yeah,
highlight,
we do. All the things.
all the things.
All
Yes,
the
yes,
things.
yes.
Now, there was a study. I know you're on top of this. This was new to me and maybe new to some who are listening and watching. But there was a study that came out on yesterday about synthetic braiding hair used by Black women contain dangerous chemicals. And that floored me, and to the point where my husband even came home talking about it from the office and was saying how it was mentioned about carcinogens, which is equated with like grilling, charcoal, and the harmful effects of that. Um, where did this come from? Is this just a false report that we should disregard as it relates to synthetic hair, particularly braiding hair?
No, we shouldn't disregard it, because we know that the hair is made somewhere else. It's not made over here. And it's funny that we're having this conversation, because maybe about 3 or 4 months ago, I put a post on my page, and I was actually showing someone making the synthetic hair, and how they make it with the tar, and how it's made. And when the guy got finished, making it, it was this hair. And we don't know what is in it, but in our community, if it look good and if it feel good, we all for it. Um,
Wait. Tar, Deshawn? Is that what heard you say?
yes, it was some type of, when I read it, it's some type of synthetic, it's
Okay.
some type of synthetic
Wow.
liquid that is made to use to create the hair. And, and one thing about studies, of course, it doesn't include everybody, right? But we have to take, because but we have to be serious about it, because it's serious, right? And
Very
so
serious.
it's very, very serious. But that's not the only product, right? There's several products that are made that we have found uh, along the years that have, hormonal based things in it that they're looking at to see if why Black women have breast cancer or a type of cancer more than anything, because um, things that we like to do to our hair, that we are attracted to. But we live in a time where we have the internet. We live in a time where we have AI. We live in a time where whatever answer you need, all you got to do is use the 10 fingers that God gave you. And if he didn't give you 10 and he gave you 7, you still can use the 2 to get on this computer and find out what you need to know to educate yourself about the things that you are putting on in your body and on your body. That's whether it's a clothing garment that may come from out of the country, or if it's some hair to put on your head, or if it's a toothpaste that you just buying on TikTok. I'm just gonna say it because we're buying all this stuff. It is not cleared, and we're just consumers. And just because somebody said that it does this, educate yourself, find out. And I'm guilty as well. I'm buying something saying I want my teeth white, it got charcoal and it's coming across the country. What am I putting in my mouth? you know
So in other words, do our homework,
do our homework.
do our research, and don't just take things at face value, because among that report, I said, wow. That so I'm glad that we could have this conversation and hopefully shed some light on the importance and take it very serious, our hair, because a lot of times we'll go for convenience. Me just able to exercise or whatever looks nice and not really thinking about how it's going to internally affect my overall health. But I'm thankful that you are a sponsor of the upcoming conference and that you'll be able to share and just spread more light on these things that hopefully we'll continue to keep in the front of our minds and not just put it aside, because it's really the spirit, the soul, and the body. Just our I'm like you mentioned, our health and our hair is everything. It's our wealth, it's our confidence, it's how we show up. It affects us in so many different ways, and with everything else that's going on, being imported, exported, we have to think about, okay, this is serious, because as God says, He counts the numbers of hairs on our head. He doesn't say anything about other limbs or extremities, but he just something that detail, and that's powerful.
It is
He
powerful.
knows whatever that number is, and even as it, like you mentioned, can decrease over time, maybe for different reasons. But if God is mentioning that in the Word, then that's something to think about.
Yeah, I'm excited to be a part of the conference and to shed a little bit more light. I don't want to give out all the secrets out the bag tonight, because I want to give them out and really make that major impact at the conference. But it is that important. One of the things I will say is that, you know, when we're ill or if something is going on with us, one of the first things that we find to go is our hair, right? So if something happens, even like during COVID, they called it COVID hair loss. When people got COVID, they were having problems with their hair, and that was like a side effect, because one of the things that happened, I remember being at a conference long ago, and I heard somebody say, before your kidney goes, your hair will go to let you know something is going on with your kidney. Before your heart fails, your hair is going to send a signal like something is going on with my hair. The hair is the indicator, right?
Mm.
Before anything else falls down. And so
Wow.
it is that important to God, but I don't even want to give the whole thing. It is that important. We'll save that for the conference,
We'll
but
save it.
we'll save it. But we gotta know that it's is that important. It is that important.
Where can people find you, Deshawn? Where can they find your products that address hair loss? We know they can find you at the real conference March 20th and 21st, but between now and then, to hear more and see more, and to maybe even experience more about Nouritress and the line that you started, and where can they find you?
They can find me, Nouritress. We're on all social media outlets. So we're on Instagram at Nouritress. We're on TikTok at Nouritress. We're on Facebook at Nouritress. We're at Nouritress.com, and that's Nouritress.com. We're also sold on Amazon, so you can buy it one day and get it the next, on Prime. So we're on Amazon. And if you just want to follow me because you just want some hair coaching, I'm on Instagram at the hair coach INTL, the hair coach INTL, and I am that on uh, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Beautiful. Well, thank you.
No, thank you.
And we are excited and looking forward to hearing more and educating ourselves, and hope everybody got some little tips that they can take away and just put it in your pocket and say, hey, I got to remember this and take it serious. So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Deshawn and I appreciate you popping on. Deshawn, I appreciate you, your support, and being a part of this women's conference and helping to change the lives of women through beauty.
Yes,
And we know we have beauty from the inside, and I know that that same thing is available for us on the outside because of how God made us in his likeness and his image. So we are all beautiful in him, and that's where our beauty comes from. And so thank you so much. And everybody have a great night.
thank you.